the right bank of the River Mincio. On the left is a two-story house, half ruined. Through a large arch on the ground floor, a rustic tavern can be seen, as well as a rough stone staircase that leads to an attic room. This is how Act 3 of Rigoletto begins, a tragic story revolving around the licentious Duke of Mantua, his court jester Rigoletto, and Rigoletto's daughter Gilda. The playing card and later comics character of the Joker was modeled after or inspired by the court jester Rigoletto. The opera's original title, The Curse, refers to an evil spell cast on both the Duke and Rigoletto by Count Monterone, whose daughter the Duke had seduced with Rigoletto's encouragement. Rigoletto was set in 19th century Mantua, a mist-shrouded town located in the heart of the Po Valley, in northern Italy. Deglaciation at the end of the last ice age, about 11,000 years ago, formed a marshland flooded by the Mincio River flowing south from Lake Garda into the Po River. The region was inhabited as early as 21,000 years ago, but the best preserved human remains are the skeletons of two individuals buried face to face with their arms around each other, dating to about 4000 BCE. The Etruscan chieftain Ocnus traveled north from ancient Etruria, descended the Tuscan-Emilian Apennines into the Po Valley, and founded a town on the right bank of the Mincio River in about 2000 BCE. He then resolved to conquer more land across the river, only to meet his death in a quicksand pit. His soul was forever punished in Tartarus for his recklessness. The town he had built was named Mantua, meaning Gate of the Human Soul. The ancient Latin poet Publius Vergilius Maro, more commonly known as Virgil, was born in Mantua in 70 BCE. He composed three of the most famous poems in Latin literature, namely the Bucolics, the Georgics, and the epic Aeneid. When St. Benedict's Abbey was built in the early 11th century, Mantua became an important religious center. Mantua was also the birthplace of a real-life joker named Sordello. Born in about 1200, he became one of the wittiest troubadours in Europe. His life and work were expounded on by Dante Alighieri and Robert Browning. Mantua's historic power and influence grew under the local Gonzaga family between 1328 and 1708. Mantua is surrounded by small lakes and swamps inhabited by aquatic plants such as the lotus and waterfowl such as the goose. In fact, Gonzaga was originally the name of a suburb of Mantua known as the Goose Wharf. The water element and the divine feminine have been linked to Mantua since its foundation. In the early 15th century, the Holy Mother's Church and Nunnery were built on the western edge of the city, which became a pilgrimage site, especially for women and religious artists. The 16th century saw the construction of some of the most historic buildings in and around the town. The so-called Tea Palace features surreal frescoed rooms, a secret garden, and an alchemical grotto. The ancient Sabionetta Theatre was designed by the two best architects in 16th century Italy, namely Andrea Palladio and Vincenzo Scamozzi. Born in 1680 in Mantua, Costanzo Giuseppe Beschi studied theology and philosophy. At the age of 30, he visited Goa in western India and finally settled in Tamil Nadu, where he studied Indian classical languages. He authored Tamil grammar books and Tamil language dictionaries, and wrote extensively about Christian saints as well as Hindu gurus. The Second Italian War of Independence was fought in 1859 in the countryside between Mantua and Lake Garda. It was one of the bloodiest conflicts in Italian history. The bones of thousands of dead soldiers are preserved in the chapel of a village called Solferino. Swiss businessman Henry Dunant visited the area during the war and was shocked by the horrific scenes he witnessed. After returning to his hometown of Geneva, he wrote a book about his gruesome experience and co-founded the International Committee of the Red Cross. Today, Mantua has grown into a cosmopolitan town and is the site of a very important Vaishnava Hindu temple, as well as a Cambodian Buddhist temple.